Okay, let me just start by saying something very clearly. Before anyone judges me, or jumps to conclusions, or decides I'm some terrible person who doesn't deserve love or happiness, it was obviously a joke. Obviously, clearly, plainly. Anyone with half a brain, anyone with even the most basic understanding of humor and sarcasm and how human communication works, would understand it was a joke. A lighthearted comment, a playful tease. Nothing more, nothing less. He's the one who took it seriously. He's the one who decided to blow everything completely out of proportion and turn a harmless, throwaway comment into this whole massive dramatic production with storming out and silent treatment and refusing to communicate like an adult. He's the one who chose to humiliate me publicly in a nice restaurant instead of just laughing it off like a normal, secure, confident person would do. People tease their partners about their families all the time. It's completely, totally normal. It's what couples do when they're comfortable with each other. Your mom is cooler than you. Your sister got all the fun genes. Your brother is the attractive one. Everyone says stuff like this at family gatherings, at parties, in casual conversation. It's playful. It's affectionate banter. It's the kind of thing that shows you're comfortable enough with someone to joke about literally anything, including their family dynamics and comparisons. I wasn't saying I actually want his dad romantically. That's disgusting. That's revolting. That's not what I meant at all, and anyone suggesting that's what I meant is deliberately misunderstanding me. I was just pointing out, in a humorous, observational, completely reasonable way, that his dad has certain qualities that are objectively better developed, more refined, more impressive. Better qualities that come naturally with age and experience and maturity and living more years on this planet. His dad is successful, runs his own business, makes 6 figures, drives a luxury car. His dad is charismatic. Everyone at parties gravitates toward him, wants to talk to him, laughs at his stories. His dad knows how to handle social situations gracefully. His dad has confidence and presence that fills a room. These are just facts, observable reality, objective truth. I'm not allowed to acknowledge reality now. I have to pretend I don't notice obvious things that everyone else notices too. He should have laughed. A secure man would have laughed it off. A confident man would have made a joke back at me, would have played along with the banter, would have understood it was all in fun and not some deep commentary on his worth as a human being. It wasn't even that deep. It wasn't some profound philosophical statement about our relationship or his value as a partner. It was a throwaway comment over dinner. One sentence, one light-hearted observation that lasted maybe 5 seconds. I didn't expect him to humiliate me like that, to turn my joke back on me in the cruelest, most devastating possible way, to make a public scene in a nice restaurant where we were supposed to be having a romantic, intimate evening together, to make me look absolutely insane and desperate in front of strangers, waiters, other couples trying to enjoy their Saturday night meals. And now I'm saying all of this, trying to process what just happened and defend myself to anyone who'll listen, while sitting completely alone in my car in the parking lot of the restaurant where, less than 15 minutes ago, he'd just handed me his father's actual phone number, written on a torn piece of napkin, and walked away without looking back, without explaining himself, without giving me a chance to clarify what I meant or take it back or make him understand I was obviously joking. Just walked away like I was nothing to him, like our entire 2-year relationship meant absolutely nothing, like everything we'd built together could be erased and thrown away over one comment. I'm staring at this napkin in my hands, this stupid piece of cloth with his father's name, Robert, his dad's name is Robert, and phone number written in his handwriting, that distinctive handwriting I've seen on birthday cards and grocery lists and love notes, and I can't even fully process what just happened. My brain can't catch up to this reality. How did we get here? How did a perfectly nice romantic dinner turn into this complete nightmare in the span of 5 minutes. I fume, gripping my steering wheel so hard my knuckles are turning white, my hands shaking with this mixture of anger and confusion and rising panic. He made me look crazy over one single joke, and he destroyed our entire evening. He embarrassed me in front of everyone. He walked out on me like I'm trash. He left me sitting there like an absolute idiot while everyone in that restaurant stared and whispered. And now his family probably knows something happened, and I'm going to have to explain this, and everyone's going to think I'm the bad guy when I didn't even do anything wrong. Let me back up and tell you exactly what happened tonight, step by step, moment by moment, word by word, because I absolutely know he's already calling his best friend Jake right now, already texting his brother, already spinning this story his way, already making me out to be some cruel villain who deliberately hurt him for no reason when that's not what happened at all. We're having what's supposed to be a quiet, romantic dinner at this nice Italian restaurant downtown called Stella's. You know the kind of place: dim mood lighting, candles flickering on every white-clothed table, soft jazz music playing from hidden speakers, the smell of garlic and fresh bread in the air. White linen tablecloths that probably cost more to clean than my entire outfit. Fancy folded napkins shaped like swans or flowers or something decorative. A wine list that's actual pages long instead of just having a few bottles listed on the regular menu. The kind of upscale place where people go for anniversaries or birthdays or celebrations or proposals. The kind of place where the waiter calls you Sir and Madame, and there's a dress code posted on the door. He made this reservation 3 weeks ago. I know because he mentioned it several times, being very specific about getting a good table, requesting a corner booth specifically, something private and intimate away from the kitchen noise and bathroom traffic. He even called them twice to confirm we'd have that specific table. That's not normal for him. He's usually pretty laid back about restaurant planning. But for this dinner, he was meticulous. The evening started out absolutely perfectly. Better than perfect, actually. We ordered appetizers, shared this amazing bruschetta with fresh tomatoes and basil, calamari that was perfectly crispy, not rubbery at all. He ordered a bottle of wine, a nice Italian red, more expensive than we usually get. Like $60 a bottle expensive, which made me raise my eyebrows, but he just smiled and said, "Special occasion, we're celebrating." When I asked what we were celebrating, he got this mysterious look and said, "Just us, just being together." We were talking and laughing about work stories, about this funny thing that happened at my office, about his coworker who keeps microwaving fish and stinking up their break room. Everything felt right, felt good, felt like we were in a really solid place in our relationship. The kind of evening where you remember why you fell in love with someone in the first place. But then I started noticing something odd. He kept touching his jacket pocket, his right side specifically, touching it, patting it gently, checking it subtly like he was making sure something was still there, hadn't fallen out or disappeared. He did it maybe 6 or 7 times over the course of our appetizers and main course. And he looked nervous, in a way I hadn't seen in months. More nervous than when he gave that big presentation at work. More nervous than when he met my parents for the first time. Fidgeting with his napkin, folding and refolding it. Adjusting his collar, even though it was fine. His leg bouncing under the table in that rapid way it does when he's anxious or stressed about something. Taking deep breaths like he was trying to calm himself down. And that's when it clicked in my brain, when I realized what was probably happening. He's thinking about proposing soon. Maybe not tonight specifically, but soon. Maybe he has the ring in his pocket right now. Maybe he's carrying it around, waiting for the perfect moment, building up courage, trying to figure out the right time and the right words to say. And I don't know what came over me in that moment. Maybe it was the wine. I'd had 2 glasses already and I'm a lightweight. Maybe it was nerves because the idea of getting engaged is huge and scary and exciting all at once. Maybe it was just my unfortunate sense of humor choosing exactly the wrong moment to come out. But I laughed, this light, playful laugh, and I leaned forward across the table and said, with what I genuinely thought was obvious sarcasm dripping from every word, with what I thought was clearly meant as an absurd joke, "Well, if you ever proposed to me, I'd probably say yes to your dad instead. At least he's the luxury edition, the upgraded model, the version that actually came out right the first time." I smirked as I said it, my lips curving up in what I thought was a playful, teasing expression, expecting him to laugh, expecting him to blush that cute way he does when he's embarrassed, expecting him to roll his eyes affectionately, or make some joke back about me being ridiculous or impossible. That's what we do. That's our dynamic. We tease each other. We joke around. We're playful and sarcastic with each other. It's how we communicate affection. He doesn't laugh. He doesn't smile. He doesn't blush or roll his eyes or do anything I expected. He just freezes completely, utterly, his fork suspended halfway to his mouth with pasta twirled around it, his entire body going rigid like someone just pressed pause on him. The restaurant noise continues around us. Other conversations, clinking silverware, quiet laughter from other tables. But our table goes completely silent. Then slowly, very slowly, like he's moving underwater or through molasses, he sets down his fork on his plate. The gentle clink of metal on ceramic. Picks up his phone from where it's sitting face down next to his wine glass. Unlocks it with his thumb, the screen illuminating his face. Scrolls through his contacts deliberately, precisely, like he's looking for something very specific. Then slides the phone across the white tablecloth toward me, the screen facing up so I can see it clearly, can read every detail. On the screen, his dad's contact information, full legal name, Robert James Morrison, phone number with area code, email address, even a contact photo, his dad smiling at some family barbecue from last summer. He says, his voice completely calm, completely flat, with absolutely no emotion whatsoever, which somehow makes it more terrifying than if he were yelling, "You prefer him? You'd rather say yes to him than to me. Call him right now, right here at this table. Tell him exactly what you just told me. Maybe he wants to marry you. Maybe he'll appreciate your sense of humor more than I do. Maybe he's more your type. Go ahead. I'll wait. I'll sit right here and listen while you propose to my father." I laughed nervously, this high-pitched, uncomfortable laugh, because this has to be a joke back at me, right? He's matching my energy. He's playing along with the bit. He's being sarcastic right back. Any second now, he's going to crack a smile, and we'll both laugh and move past this and finish our nice dinner. I wait for him to say, "I'm kidding," or "gotcha," or "see how it feels." He doesn't say any of those things. Instead, he picks up his cloth napkin from his lap, the nice burgundy one that was folded into some fancy decorative shape when we sat down, and tears off a corner of it. Just rips it, the sound of fabric tearing audible even over the restaurant ambiance. Takes a pen from his jacket pocket, that same jacket pocket he kept checking all night, and writes something down very carefully, very deliberately, his handwriting clear and legible. His father's full name, his father's phone number with all 10 digits. Even adds Dad, with a little arrow pointing to the name, like I might somehow forget whose number this is. Then he folds the piece of napkin once and hands it across the table to me, holding it out until I automatically take it from him. "Here, since you want him instead of me. Since he's the luxury edition and I'm apparently the discount version. The factory reject. The mistake. The one that didn't come out right. Here's his number. Call him. Text him. Make your intentions known. See if he's interested. Go for it. I'm not stopping you." And then he stands up. Just stands up from the table, his chair scraping loudly against the hardwood floor, the sound making several nearby diners turn their heads to look at us. Other people in the restaurant are definitely watching now. I can feel their eyes, can see them in my peripheral vision, turning to stare at what's happening at our table. He pulls out his wallet from his back pocket, opens it, takes out 3 $50 bills, which is way more than our meal and wine cost, probably double what we owe, and drops them on the table next to his plate. That should more than cover our meal and tip for the server. Enjoy the rest of your dinner. Enjoy your wine. Enjoy whatever you want. I'm done here. And then he walks away. Just walks away from the table, from me, from our dinner, from everything. Through the restaurant toward the front exit, weaving between tables, his posture straight and his pace steady, like he's completely calm and decided. He leaves me completely speechless, sitting there frozen with my mouth literally hanging open, holding this piece of torn napkin with his father's phone number written on it in his handwriting. He leaves everyone in the restaurant openly staring at our table, whispering to each other, pointing subtly, wondering what just happened, what terrible thing I must have said to make him leave like that. Our waiter approaches hesitantly, this young guy probably in his early 20s, looking deeply uncomfortable. Is everything all right? Can I get you anything? Box up your food, perhaps? The humiliation hits me like a physical wave, like someone dumped ice water over my head. My face is burning, my hands are shaking. I can feel tears starting to form in my eyes. Okay, so I need to take a moment here and explain something very clearly to anyone hearing this story, anyone who might judge me without knowing the full context, because there's clearly been a massive misunderstanding about what I actually said and what I actually meant and how he's choosing to interpret it. I wasn't flirting with his dad. That's disgusting. That's revolting. That's absolutely not what this is about at all. His dad is like 53 years old. He's married to his mum, Carol, happily married for like 32 years. I would never, ever look at an older married man like that. That's not even in the realm of things I would consider. Ever. That's gross. Anyone suggesting that's what I meant is deliberately twisting my words to make me look bad. It was sarcasm, pure sarcasm, hyperbole, exaggeration for comedic effect, like saying, I'd rather eat glass than go to that party, or I'd rather stick needles in my eyes than watch that movie. Nobody thinks you actually want to eat glass or stick needles in your eyes. It's just expressing preference in an exaggerated, humorous way. He should appreciate honesty and humor in a relationship. He should be mature and secure enough to handle a joke without falling completely apart and making everything about his feelings and his ego and his insecurities. His dad is objectively charismatic, confident, funny, successful, well-dressed, well-spoken, socially skilled, knows how to tell an engaging story, commands attention when he walks into a room. These are observable qualities that anyone would notice. Factual observations. It's not my fault that his father has more developed versions of certain traits. It's not my fault that age and experience and 30 more years of living have given his father an edge in certain areas. I'm just making honest observations about reality. Since when is honesty a crime? Since when is noticing objective reality something you're not allowed to mention out loud? And he asked for comparison last week. Literally, just last Sunday, we were at his parents' house for their weekly family dinner, and he asked me directly, "What do you think of my dad? Do you think he's cool?" Some of my friends growing up always said he was cooler than me, that they wished he was their dad. What's your impression? He opened the door to this comparison. He invited me to think about his dad in relation to him. He asked for my opinion. So I was just following up on a conversation that he started. I was answering a question he asked. But what I'm not mentioning right now, what I'm conveniently leaving out as I tell this story to myself and prepare to tell it to my friends later when I need support and validation, is the pattern, the history, the months of context that makes this joke not just one isolated comment, but actually the final straw in a long series of comparisons I've been making. I forget to mention that I've giggled a bit too much around his dad at family gatherings, that I've laughed a little too hard and a little too long at his dad's jokes, even the ones that aren't that funny, that I've touched his dad's arm multiple times when he tells stories, this casual, familiar touching that I don't do with anyone else's father. that I've complimented his dad's appearance, his clothes, his career success, his achievements, maybe more frequently than is strictly necessary or appropriate. I forget to mention that I once told my friends over Sunday brunch 3 months ago, his dad aged like the finest wine you've ever tasted, like a really expensive vintage that gets better with every year. Meanwhile, his son is aging like, I don't know, milk, maybe? Beer? Something that expires quickly and goes bad if you don't refrigerate it properly. And all my friends laughed and agreed, and someone said, "Ooh, that's rough but accurate," and we all kept laughing about it. I forget to mention that I compared them directly and publicly at a family dinner 2 months ago. His whole family was there. Parents, his younger sister Maya, his brother Chris, even his grandmother. Someone mentioned his dad getting another big promotion at work, moving up to regional director or something impressive, and I said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "See, that's ambition. That's what real drive looks like. That's what happens when you actually push yourself instead of settling for comfortable. Some people have it naturally, some people don't," while looking directly, pointedly at my boyfriend. The whole table got uncomfortably quiet. His mum changed the subject quickly to something about dessert. I forget to mention the TikTok I posted just last month. I took a video of his dad at a family barbecue, looking handsome and distinguished in his polo shirt and nice watch, laughing and telling stories to a group of relatives who were all paying attention to him. And I posted it with the caption, "Some generations just get better with time," with heart eyes emojis. My boyfriend saw it within hours, asked me very directly to take it down, said it made him uncomfortable. I told him he was being sensitive and insecure and reading too much into a harmless observation. I left it up for 3 more days before finally deleting it when he asked again, more firmly. I forget to mention what I said to his mother Carol just 2 weeks ago. We were alone in the kitchen after dinner, doing dishes together while the men watched a game in the living room, and she was talking about how she and Robert met in college. And I said, trying to sound joking but maybe not joking enough, "You really chose the wrong son to have first. Like, the second batch got all the good upgrades. Better hardware, better software, better everything." I laughed after I said it. She didn't laugh. She looked at me with this expression I couldn't quite read. Surprise, disapproval, concern, and said very quietly, "My son is a good man who loves you very much. I hope you see that." Then she didn't really talk to me much the rest of that evening, but according to me, according to the story I'm telling myself right now to protect my ego, all of that was harmless fun. Just observations, just jokes, just me being honest and playful and showing I'm comfortable with his family. Nothing problematic, nothing hurtful, nothing that should bother anyone. What I didn't know, what he never explicitly told me, because he's not the type of person who openly talks about his deepest insecurities and vulnerabilities unless directly asked, is that he had been secretly, carefully planning a proposal for weeks. He'd bought a ring 3 weeks ago, spent almost 2 months' salary on it, which is more than he could really comfortably afford, but he wanted to get me something beautiful, something substantial, something I'd be proud to wear, something I'd show off to my friends and family. He went to 5 different jewelry stores, tried on dozens of rings on his own pinky finger to guess my size, asked the jewelers 100 questions about clarity and cut and carat weight, finally picked a beautiful white gold band with a round diamond, simple and elegant, classic style that wouldn't go out of fashion. He'd been carrying that ring box with him for the past week, tucked safely in his jacket pocket, waiting for the perfect moment that felt right. That's what he was checking all through dinner. The ring box, making sure it was still there, hadn't somehow fallen out or disappeared, working up the courage to get down on one knee in this nice restaurant where he'd specifically requested a private corner table away from too much traffic. He'd actually rehearsed a proposal speech, sat down and wrote something out on his computer, printed it, practiced saying it out loud in front of his bathroom mirror like some rom-com character. The speech talked about how I made him laugh every day, how I challenged him to be a better version of himself, how he couldn't imagine his future without me in it, how he wanted to build a life together, buy a house together, maybe have kids together someday, grow old together. He'd even shown the speech to his best friend Jake, who gave him feedback, helped him refine certain phrases, told him it was perfect, and she'd definitely say yes. He even called his father for advice earlier this week. Tuesday night, I think. Called his dad after I'd gone to bed and had this long father-son conversation in the living room with the TV on low. Asked him, "Dad, I'm going to propose to her this weekend. Do you have any advice? What did you say to Mom? How did you know she was the right one? How did you make the moment special?" And his father apparently gave him this whole meaningful talk about respect and partnership, and choosing someone who sees your worth, who values you for who you are, who makes you feel like you're enough exactly as you are. His father told him, "When you find someone who makes you feel like the best version of yourself, who respects you and admires you and supports you, that's when you know. That's the person you marry." So when I made that joke tonight, if you ever propose, I'd rather say yes to your dad instead. It didn't land as a joke at all. It stabbed directly, precisely, devastatingly into the one deep insecurity he's carried his entire life, but never shows anyone, never talks about, keeps buried and hidden because he's ashamed of it. He's always felt completely overshadowed by his father. His dad is wildly successful, runs his own consulting business, makes multiple 6 figures a year, has business connections all over the city. My boyfriend works a regular corporate job in middle management, makes a decent, comfortable living, but nothing spectacular, nothing impressive to brag about. His dad is naturally charismatic, the life of absolutely every party and gathering. Everyone wants to talk to him. Everyone seeks his attention and approval. People light up when he enters a room. My boyfriend is quieter by nature, more reserved and introverted, takes significant time to warm up to new people, often stands in corners at parties, nursing the same drink all night. His dad is supremely confident, never seems to doubt himself or his decisions, moves through the world like he belongs everywhere, like he has every right to take up space. My boyfriend second-guesses everything, overthinks every decision, to the point of paralysis sometimes, constantly questions if he's doing the right thing. His dad has this powerful presence, this way of commanding instant respect just by walking into a room and existing in it. My boyfriend tends to fade into the background at large social gatherings, gets talked over in group conversations, struggles to make his voice heard. He's spent his entire life, hearing comparisons. "You're just like your father. You'll grow into it. Your dad was exactly the same at your age. You'll develop those skills eventually. You have big shoes to fill following in your father's footsteps." And wondering if any of it's true, wondering if he'll ever actually measure up, wondering if he's just a worse, inferior version of the man his father is, a copy that didn't come out quite right. And then tonight, the woman he was about to propose to, the woman he'd been planning to spend the rest of his life with, the woman he thought loved him and accepted him and valued him for exactly who he is, said directly to his face that she'd rather marry his father. I didn't know about this insecurity because I never asked, never dug deeper, never wanted to know about his internal struggles and self-doubt, because that's not fun, that's heavy, that's not the light, easy, playful relationship dynamic I wanted to maintain. I didn't care enough to notice what my jokes were doing to him. Didn't care enough to see the pattern. Didn't care enough to understand that comparing him to his father, over and over and over for months, was slowly destroying his self-esteem and his belief in himself. I thought I was being witty, being clever, being funny and observational. I wasn't. I was being cruel. Systematically, repeatedly cruel. And tonight, with that one comment at what was supposed to be the happiest moment of his life, I finally pushed him past his breaking point. After I made the joke, after those words left my mouth and hung in the air between us like poison, he didn't argue with me, didn't get defensive or angry, didn't try to defend himself or explain why I was wrong, or convince me he was good enough, worth enough, sufficient enough. He didn't explode in rage, didn't raise his voice even slightly, didn't make a scene by yelling or knocking things over or storming off in obvious fury that would draw immediate attention. He didn't even try to make me feel guilty in the moment, didn't say, "How could you say that to me?" or "That really hurt my feelings," or "Why would you compare me to my father?" or any of the things someone might say when they're wounded. He simply, calmly, coldly, methodically, gave me exactly what I said I wanted: his father's phone number. The message was brutal and brilliant, and he didn't need to say any of it out loud for me to eventually, slowly understand the full implications. If you think he's better than me in every way, if you'd rather be with him than with me, if you think I'm just a discount, inferior version of my father, and you want the premium, luxury model instead, then go ahead. Try. Call him. Make your move. See what happens. See if my father wants to marry a woman who disrespects and belittles his son. See if my father thinks you're as funny and charming as you think you are. See if my 53-year-old happily married father is interested in his son's girlfriend, who thinks comparisons are hilarious. See if that works out well for you. I dare you. I double dare you. Because we both know you won't actually call him, which proves you know exactly how inappropriate and hurtful your joke really was. But in the moment, sitting at that table, I didn't understand any of that complexity. I just saw it as him being dramatic, making a scene, overreacting to harmless teasing, taking a joke way too seriously, like he always does with everything. He left the restaurant calmly, deliberately, like he had been mentally preparing for this moment, like he'd been waiting for the final straw that would give him clear permission to walk away from me, from us, from everything we'd built together over 2 years. I sat there frozen for maybe 30 seconds, just staring blankly at his empty chair, at the napkin piece with his father's phone number, at the cash he left on the table, trying desperately to process what had just happened, how our romantic dinner had transformed into this nightmare. Then panic set in hard and fast. I grabbed my purse from under my chair and ran after him, my heels clicking loudly and frantically on the restaurant's hardwood floor, everyone definitely staring at me now as I rushed past tables toward the exit, probably knocking into someone's chair, definitely making a scene. I burst through the front door into the parking lot, the cool evening air hitting my face, looking around desperately, frantically searching. I spotted him. He was already at his car in the parking lot, already had his keys out, already had the driver's door open, already had one foot inside the vehicle. "Wait," I shouted across the parking lot, my voice too loud, echoing off the surrounding buildings. "Wait, stop, where are you going? Come back, we need to talk about this. You can't just leave." He got into his car without even glancing in my direction, without acknowledging I was there calling his name, like I was invisible, like I didn't exist, like I was just background noise not worth his attention. I ran toward his car as fast as I could in heels, still shouting, "I was joking. It was a joke. Come on, don't be like this. Don't do this." He closed his door. I reached his car just as I heard all 4 doors lock simultaneously, that mechanical clicking sound of being deliberately shut out. I knocked desperately on his window with my knuckles, the glass cold and hard. "Open the door, please. We need to talk. You can't just leave me here." He started the engine, the car rumbling to life, put it in reverse, the backup lights glowing white. I stepped back quickly, not wanting to actually get hit or run over, and watched completely helplessly as he backed smoothly out of his parking spot, shifted into drive, and drove away. Just drove away. Out of the parking lot, onto the main street, gone into the evening traffic, disappeared, left me standing there completely alone in a restaurant parking lot on a Saturday night, in my nice dress and uncomfortable heels, holding my purse and that stupid piece of napkin, with other people coming and going from the restaurant, all of them looking at me with curiosity or pity or judgment or barely concealed entertainment at my distress. That same waiter from inside actually came outside after me, this young guy who looks like he's maybe 22 or 23, looking deeply concerned and professionally awkward about what he'd witnessed. "Miss? Excuse me, miss. You left your jacket at the table. I brought it out for you since you ran out so quickly. And, are you okay? Do you need us to call anyone for you? Call you a cab or a ride share?" I took my jacket from him, my face burning with humiliation so intense I felt lightheaded. "I'm fine, thank you. I'm completely fine. Everything's fine." I wasn't fine. Nothing was fine. Everything was falling apart spectacularly, and I didn't even fully understand why or how it had happened so quickly, how we went from perfect to destroyed in minutes. I stood in that parking lot for another minute or two, trying to compose myself, trying to slow my breathing, trying to figure out what to do next, where to go, how to fix this. Then I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and started texting him frantically, desperately. "Are you seriously doing this right now?" Send. "Are you actually insane? That was a joke." Send. "You completely embarrassed me in that restaurant." Send. "Everyone was staring at us. Everyone saw you walk out on me like I'm trash." Send. "You're being so insecure, that's the real problem here." Send. "I can't believe you're overreacting this much to nothing." The messages show as delivered almost instantly, then as read within seconds. The little "read 8:47 p.m." notification appears under my messages. He's reading them. Right now, as I'm standing here, he's reading every word, but he doesn't respond. Not to any of them. Just reads them and doesn't reply. I call him. My hands are shaking so badly, I almost drop my phone. It rings 4 times, then goes to voicemail. His voice. "Hey, you've reached..." I hang up before the message finishes. I call again immediately, not even waiting a full second. Same thing. 4 rings. Voicemail. He's declining them or just not answering. I call a 3rd time, anger and panic rising in equal measure. This time, it only rings once before going to voicemail. He declined it. He pressed the red button to deliberately reject my call. I'm starting to genuinely panic now. Really panic, feeling my chest get tight and my breathing get shallow and rapid, that feeling like the world is tilting. Then my phone buzzes with an incoming text. But it's not from him. It's from his mother, Carol. "What exactly did you say to my son at dinner tonight?" He just called me very upset, more upset than I've heard him in years, and said he needed to talk to his father privately. He wouldn't tell me the details of what happened. "Did you two have a fight? Is everything all right between you? Should I be worried?" Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. He called his parents. He told them something happened. Now his mother is texting me asking what I said, which means I have to explain, which means she's going to know I compared her son to her husband, which means she's going to remember that comment I made 2 weeks ago about choosing the wrong son, which means his whole family is going to know what I said. I want the ground to literally open up and swallow me whole. I don't respond to her text immediately. I can't. What am I supposed to say? "Hi, Carol. I told your son I'd rather marry your husband than him, and now he's justifiably upset for some mysterious reason." I get back in my car, this piece of napkin still clutched in my hand, crumpled now from my grip, and I just sit there in the driver's seat in the dark parking lot, staring at nothing, trying desperately to figure out how to fix this situation. Time passes. I don't know how much. Maybe 30 minutes. Maybe an hour. I lose complete track just sitting there replaying everything in my head. Then my phone buzzes again. Finally, a message from him. My heart actually jumps. He's responding. "We can fix this. We can talk this through. Everything will be okay." I open the message with trembling fingers. You've compared me to my dad for the last time. I'm done being measured against him and found lacking. I'm done being the inferior version, the disappointment, the one who didn't come out right. I'm done with you and your constant comparisons and your inability to see me as enough exactly as I am. That's it. That's the whole message. Short and devastating. I immediately start typing back frantically. No, wait, please, let me explain what I meant. But before I can finish typing and hit send, another message comes through from him. Don't call me tonight. Don't text me repeatedly. I've turned my phone on Do Not Disturb. I need substantial time to think about whether there's any possible future for us, whether I can ever trust you again, whether I can ever propose to someone who thinks my father is a better option. But honestly, after what you said tonight, after how you've made me feel inadequate for months, I don't think there is a future. I think we're done, completely done. Then nothing. No more messages. Complete silence. When I try to call immediately, it rings normally, but he doesn't pick up, just lets it ring and ring until voicemail.